Want to learn English in a way that's fun, natural, and actually works? Stories like this one help you improve your listening and vocabulary without even realizing it. So relax and enjoy the journey. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and hit the bell so you get a fresh story every day. It started as a peaceful morning in a palace garden in India. The sky was blue, the sun was warm, and the air smelled of flowers and spices. The old palace stood tall behind Emily, its marble walls shining under the light. The garden around her was like something from a dream: green grass, fountains, colorful flowers, and narrow paths that twisted through the trees. Emily had arrived early to avoid the crowds. She wanted to walk alone, breathe deeply, and feel the history in the air. The garden felt quiet, almost too quiet, but she liked it that way. A soft breeze moved through the trees. Birds chirped in the branches above. It was the perfect place to relax. As she walked down a stone path between two rows of flowering bushes, she heard a strange sound. It was not the sound of leaves or birds or fountains. It was louder, a high-pitched cry, followed by rustling. She looked around and saw a flash of bright blue. There it was, a peacock. It stood tall in the grass near one of the fountains, its body shimmering in the sunlight. Its feathers looked unreal, like something painted by hand. The long tail dragged behind it, full of green and blue and gold. It looked at Emily with sharp black eyes. She smiled and slowly took out her phone to take a picture. The peacock didn't move. She stepped closer. The bird gave another loud cry. Emily stopped. The peacock fluffed its feathers, lifted its head high, and took a few quick steps forward. Emily stepped back. The bird followed. She thought it might stop, but it didn't. It walked faster. Then suddenly it ran. Its wings opened slightly, and its legs moved quickly through the grass. Its sharp claws kicked up dirt as it charged across the path. Emily turned and ran. She didn't scream, but her heart beat fast. She ran down the stone path, turned left past a row of trees, and didn't stop until she reached a small gate. She looked back. The peacock had stopped at the edge of the trees. It watched her for a moment, then slowly walked away into the garden. Emily stood still, trying to catch her breath. Her hands shook a little. She had not expected this kind of adventure. Not from a bird. She laughed quietly to herself. What had just happened? She looked around. The garden was still beautiful, but now it felt different, like a jungle with secrets. She decided to keep walking. She wasn't going to let a bird ruin her morning. The path ahead curved through a shaded tunnel of trees. Small lanterns hung from wooden poles, and vines grew up their sides. Emily moved slowly this time, listening carefully. She could hear birds, yes, but also soft footsteps, her own, and the sound of wind in the leaves. She reached a small stone bridge over a pond. The water below was still, and a few orange fish swam near the surface. She leaned on the railing and looked down. It was calm here, but something caught her attention again. A soft sound, wings. She turned. Another peacock stood at the far end of the bridge. It was smaller than the first one, but just as colorful. It tilted its head and took one step forward. Emily didn't wait this time. She backed away slowly, not turning her back, and walked down the path to the right of the bridge. The trees were closer together here. The ground was covered in fallen leaves. She moved quickly but quietly, hoping the bird wouldn't follow. Suddenly, a loud flapping sound filled the air. She looked up and saw the first peacock flying low between the trees. Its long tail moved like a ribbon behind it. It landed ahead of her on the path, blocking the way. Emily stopped. Now there were two of them. She looked around. The garden had turned into a maze. Every path seemed to twist and turn. She didn't want to go back the way she came. She needed to find another way out. She turned left and walked fast. She didn't run this time. She didn't want to look like prey. The peacocks didn't follow. Yet. As she moved deeper into the garden, the sounds of fountains and birds faded. The trees grew taller, and the sunlight came through in patches. The path became rougher, with broken stones and weeds. She came to a wooden gate half covered in moss. It looked old and unused. She pushed it open and stepped inside. The space beyond the gate was quieter than the rest of the garden. It looked like an old private area. A stone bench sat under a tree, and the ground was covered in soft grass. She sat down. Her heart slowed. She closed her eyes and let the breeze cool her face. But rest didn't last long. She heard a soft step in the grass. When she opened her eyes, one of the peacocks stood just a few feet away. This time, it didn't charge. It just stood there, head tilted, feathers low, looking at her. Emily didn't move. She watched it back. After a moment, the peacock turned and walked slowly away, tail dragging behind like a train. It disappeared behind a tree. She waited a minute, then stood up. The garden felt quiet again, but not in a bad way. It felt like she had passed a test, like she had been part of something secret and strange. She found a new path that led through a row of bamboo and out toward the main garden again. She could hear voices now, tourists, children, footsteps, the normal sounds of a palace garden. She stepped out of the trees and walked back toward the central fountain. People were taking pictures, laughing, buying water from a small stand. Emily joined the crowd. The peacocks were still there, but they had returned to their usual places, walking slowly across the grass, calm and beautiful. Tourists took photos from a distance. No one else seemed to have been chased. Maybe she had just surprised them. Maybe they had thought she was carrying food. Maybe she had walked too close to their space. Whatever the reason, she would never forget it. Later, as she sat on a bench near the palace steps, drinking water and watching the sun move across the garden, she smiled. It had been an adventure she hadn't expected. A strange, wild, wonderful morning. And somehow, it had made the palace garden feel more alive. Wasn't that fun? You just spent time inside a story that helped you learn real, useful English. You saw how to describe action, feelings, nature, and movement, all in a way that sticks in your mind. That's the power of learning through storytelling. You remember better when you feel something. If you liked this story, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you don't miss tomorrow's adventure. We're here every day with a new story to help you learn English in the most natural way. Now tell us in the comments, what's the strangest animal encounter you've ever had? We read every story you share.